just won the $10,000 buy-in Omaha 8 or Better World Championship. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now, let's start at the beginning. At the beginning of the tournament, day one, how did things go for you?
I showed up 2 hours late, which, as planned, actually I got there a little earlier. I got there about 6:30, started at 5. I didn't really want to play the first 2 hours of the limit tournaments because they're pretty boring, and you can start with a full stack up until 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to my table, it was a really tough table. I knew everybody there. I can't even think of everyone, but David Benjamin was there, Jennifer Harmon. I don't know. Everybody was a good player.
It's funny when there's an empty seat and everybody who's sitting at the table is just wondering, who is that person that's going to sit down? And I'm sure nobody was happy that it was you.
Yeah, and so like pretty much my strategy on day one was just to kind of chill because I don't have a lot of experience playing limit tournaments,
mm-hmm.
and what I've kind of gathered from playing them is that day one means not very much and
mm-hmm.
day two means a lot.
Okay.
So I really wanted to just kind of just chill on day one, don't really get too involved, which is really not my natural tendency, like not my style. I have a really hard time just sitting still
mm-hmm.
and just like not playing pots. But you know, I was listening to some music and getting massages, and I was able to just kind of chill. And I ended the day with I think 45,000 or something. We started with 30,
mm-hmm.
which I was happy with. It was right around average. That's really what I wanted. I wanted to make my move on day two.
And did you? How was day two for you? Did you make some strides?
And then day two, in fact, it started off really poorly actually. In the first level I got down to 20, and then by this time we were already playing pretty big. I think we were playing already 1 in 2,000,
mm-hmm.
or maybe even higher. And I was just really card dead. I didn't really play any pots, and I didn't really want to force the action because I know in Omaha Low, no matter how low you get, you can come back. You know, Daniel Negreanu was down to 5,000 chips, and he made the final table.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the secret when you're short stacked in a limit Omaha 8 or Better tournament? Are you trying to play more pots that, or are you playing tighter?
Well, the thing about that game is that, most limit games is that there are no antes, so you can wait until you have a hand.
Okay.
And if you're really short, when you get your money in, you can triple or quadruple up,
mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden you have a stack, and then you could double up again. What happened to me was 2 hands before the dinner break. Well, 3 hands before the dinner break, I got crippled, and I was down to only 9,000, and we were playing 1,500, 3,000, so I had nothing left.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, I have to go to dinner and then come back with this stack. So I was really hoping to get a hand right before dinner to get my money in, and then
mm-hmm.
I picked up 2 aces, ace, queen 7, and I had a queen high suit, and I was able to get all the money in 4-way action pre-flop.
Okay.
And I ended up scooping that hand when I made it straight on the river. So I went to dinner break with 38,000.
Wow,
really
there was no
nice.
low?
There was no low. The low didn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
I made a runner straight. So I was really lucky to win that hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to dinner break with 38,000. And then we were still playing, average at that point was still 90,000.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really worried too much about the average. And then after dinner break, I kind of just, excuse me, kind of just chilled for a little bit, coasted a little, and then chipped up. And then I remember I moved tables. I was at about 60,000, and I moved tables, and then I just went on a big rush, where I went from 60,000 to 280,000, really fast.
Were you picking up hands, or were you just playing super aggressively?
Course. No, I was picking up hands. Omaha 8 or Better is not a game of a lot of bluffing,
mm-hmm.
because since it's a split pot game, there's a lot of showdowns. So I think, especially in tournaments, solid play gets rewarded. Of course, aggressive solid play and knowing where you're at. Yeah, I hit that rush, and then when we broke down to 27, I had about 300,000, and then I kind of just, nothing much happened after that. For the last 2 levels, I didn't really win any pots, and I didn't lose any. I mean, I may have stole a couple blinds, lost a couple blinds, and I ended the day with about 300,000, which was right in the middle of the pack with 17 left. I think the average was right around 300.
Well, going into the final table, how did you enter compared to the other players at the table?
Then on day 3, I dipped as low as 125 when the average was 500, and then we're playing like ridiculously big, and I knew that even with 125 I could easily make a comeback. I'll have to just win a couple pots, and then I did, and I went to the final table with like 540,000, which was just a little bit below average. Average was like 600, and nothing much happened for me in the first hour at the final table, and then like 2 hands after the break, I won 2 pots. All of a sudden I had 1 million chips, and then I won a couple more pots and I had like 1.5 million chips, and all of a sudden I look and I'm the chip leader. I was like, wow. So then I won. Then I started playing a little bit more aggressively, and I won some more pots. And next thing you know, I have like all the green chips, and people are getting knocked out, and I have like more than half the chips in play 4-handed. And at that point, I kind of just wanted to conserve my chips. I just kind of slowed down as far as the aggression part at that point, because I wanted to, because a lot of people were going all in because there were a few short stacks. So I just really wanted to make it hard for them to get my chips, because we were playing so big that if I lost a couple pots, I could easily give up the chip lead, and having the chip lead is really important. And I was lucky to just win the pots that I entered, and by the time we got 3-handed, I had like 4.3 million of the 5.2 million in play. So it was, it would have been hard for me to lose that, and luckily I just was able to hold on to it and win it.
Now, when you entered heads up, you had a huge chip lead.
Yeah.
Was it kind of like you already felt like you won it and you were so close?
No, I mean I never really think it's over until it's over, because I remember one time long time ago when Party Poker introduced those step tournaments. They had these $1,000 buy-in 20-man tournaments, and I played a lot of them. And I remember there were 20,000 chips in play, and I remember one time I got heads up with a guy. I had 19,800 and he had 200, and he beat me. All right, so I never think it's over till it's over. All my friends were like, "Oh yeah, you got it in the bag." I'm like, "Stop saying that! Stop saying that!" And but
well, plus Scott Clements is very talented. If he gets
a great player,
get some momentum and some chips.
Yeah, he's a great player. I don't want to double him up.
Yeah.
And luckily, on the second hand, the heads up, we got the money in. Very standard hand. He had a good hand. He had ace deuce 3-5. I had ace 4 king king, and it came all big cards, and I was able to just win it right there.
Wow, well, congratulations. And we always have to ask, this is your second bracelet. How does the second one compare to the first? The first, it's your baby, it's your first one, but the second one kind of...
Yeah, the first one obviously felt great, because it's like, it kind of, it's a big accomplishment, the first one. The second one, I think, is a little sweeter, because, one, a lot of my friends were there to watch. My dad drove down from Alaei that morning, even when there were 17 people left, because he missed my first bracelet, and he's like my biggest fan by far. He loves poker, and
does he play also?
He plays, and he actually is going to be playing the main event this year. He won a seat online, so
awesome.
He'll be playing his first main event. Yeah, so I was really happy that he was here to watch it, and also. It's nice to get one out of the way towards the beginning of the World Series. That way you can play like a whole, now I have like 3 or 4 weeks of tournaments.
Yeah.
That now I already have the bracelet once. I'm kind of essentially free rolling and just in a good mood, and so momentum is really big in poker.
Exactly, I was going to say that, and that's why people go back to back, because they've got the confidence, they're playing well, and
I'm gonna try to do it tonight. Tonight I'm playing Deuce to 7 tournament, the one I won my first tournament.
Nice. Exciting.
Yeah.
All right, well, good luck with that. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks.
Chris Jarnett with Danielle Alaei for Card Player TV.